The Amulet of Shadows. In the heart of the dense, mist-covered forests of Eastern Europe lies the forgotten village of Dunwich. Long shrouded in mystery and dark folklore, the village is home to a legacy of ancient relics said to possess great power, both good and evil. Among these, the most feared was the Amulet of Shadows. The Amulet of Shadows was a small, intricately carved obsidian talisman, rumored to have been created by an ancient sorcerer named Lucian. According to legend, Lucian had been consumed by a desire for eternal life and ultimate power. In his quest, he crafted the amulet, binding a fragment of his soul within it. The amulet granted immense power to its wielder, but at a terrible cost. It slowly corrupted and consumed the bearer, feeding on their darkest desires and fears. For centuries, the amulet was lost to time, its whereabouts unknown. That is, until a young archaeologist named Daniel Reinhardt stumbled upon an old journal in the attic of his deceased grandfather's home. The journal contained cryptic entries detailing Lucian's life and the last known location of the Amulet of Shadows. Intrigued and driven by a thirst for discovery, Daniel decided to follow the clues in the journal. His journey led him to the remote village of Dunwich. The villagers, wary and superstitious, warned him to stay away from the ruins of Lucian's old manor, which lay deep in the forest. They spoke of strange occurrences and disappearances, attributing them to the amulet's cursed influence. Ignoring their warnings, Daniel ventured into the forest, determined to uncover the truth. After days of searching, he finally found the crumbling remains of Lucian's manor. In the basement, hidden behind a false wall, he discovered a small, locked chest. Inside lay the Amulet of Shadows, its dark surface gleaming ominously in the dim light. As Daniel picked up the amulet, he felt a surge of power course through him. The air grew cold, and shadows seemed to creep closer. Despite a sense of foreboding, he couldn't resist the allure of the artifact. He decided to take it back to his temporary lodgings in the village to study it further. That night, Daniel's dreams were plagued by visions of Lucian. The sorcerer appeared before him, his eyes burning with malevolent fire, whispering secrets of dark magic and unimaginable power. Daniel awoke in a cold sweat, but the visions continued each night, growing more vivid and terrifying. During the day, Daniel found himself becoming increasingly paranoid and irritable. He heard whispers in the shadows, felt eyes watching him from unseen corners. The villagers noticed the change in him, their fear turning to hostility. They demanded that he leave and take the cursed amulet with him. Determined to break free from the amulet's influence, Daniel sought out the village's elder, an old woman named Eliza who was known for her knowledge of ancient lore. Eliza told him that the only way to destroy the amulet was to return it to the place of its creation, Lucian's secret altar deep within the forest. There, a ritual must be performed to sever the bond between Lucian's soul and the amulet. Desperate, and with no other options, Daniel agreed. Eliza gave him detailed instructions for the ritual and warned him of the dangers he would face. Armed with this knowledge, Daniel set out once more into the forest, the amulet clutched tightly in his hand. The journey was treacherous, the forest seeming to twist and change around him. Shadows danced at the edges of his vision, and the air was thick with an oppressive, malevolent presence. Finally, he reached the hidden altar, an ancient stone structure covered in dark runes and symbols. Following Eliza's instructions, Daniel placed the amulet on the altar and began the ritual. As he chanted the incantations, the ground trembled, and the shadows around him grew darker and more menacing. The air was filled with a cacophony of whispers, each voice a fragment of Lucien's tormented soul. Suddenly, the amulet began to pulse with a dark energy, and a vortex of shadow erupted from it, coalescing into the form of Lucien. The sorcerer's eyes blazed with fury as he reached out to Daniel, trying to reclaim his soul fragment. With the last of his strength, Daniel completed the ritual, uttering the final incantation. The altar glowed with a blinding light, and Lucien's form was engulfed in flames. The sorcerer's screams echoed through the forest as his soul was torn apart, the amulet shattering into pieces. Exhausted and weakened, Daniel collapsed, the shadows receding as the curse was finally lifted. He awoke to find Eliza standing over him, her expression one of relief. She helped him back to the village, where the grateful villagers thanked him for freeing them from the amulet's dark influence. Daniel left Dunwich, forever changed by his encounter with the Amulet of Shadows. He vowed to never seek out such relics again, knowing the terrible price they exacted. But the memory of the shadows and whispers haunted him, a reminder of the evil that lurked within even the most alluring of treasures. The tale of the Amulet of Shadows became a new legend in Dunwich, a cautionary story passed down through generations. And though the amulet was destroyed, the fear it had instilled in the villagers remained, a testament to the enduring power of evil relics and the darkness they could bring into the world.